Annie Stewart. We're so fortunate to have beautiful people like yourself joining us at Networking in Nature, and I want to thank you so much for this morning's session.
My pleasure.
It was great to have you leading the group, and found just the concept in general and the themes that you've devoted a lot of your working life looking at very interesting. This idea of finding a calling, and there's a lot of talk around purpose, particularly in leadership, and like you had mentioned in terms of the millennial generation and people wanting to feel like there's a bigger meaning and direction behind where they're heading in life, and that's what we unpacked a little bit today, and thanks to you for leading that session. For those who couldn't be here, I thought it might be worthwhile just recapping the general sort of thinking process that you took us through, because you've spent a lot of time thinking about callings and how people can uncover them and pursue them, and you've actually developed a bit of a methodology around it. So if you wanted to just give a brief overview on that.
Sure. Well, this has become my life's work, to be able to simplify the essence of how you find your calling and meaningful work, particularly in the workplace, although purpose and calling relate to all parts of our life. So I've been working in the career coaching and leadership development area for 25 years now. So I meet a lot of people, and the struggles that people might experience, well, how do I do it? I know what's important to me, but how do I translate it into meaningful work with all the challenges of that? So that's why I set it about as my task and my own personal journey as well. So what would be the steps that someone could take to find what calls them, and as importantly is get into action, to get out of the analysis and going through it all. So for me, and for the research I did as part of my doctorate, and the many people that I've worked with and read my book and that we look after at Simpatico, back to the basics of slowing down is the first step. Slowing down and listening to your heart, because ultimately we know in our heart, in our gut, what it is that's important to us, to be able to listen to that and get into action without the distractions. Very easy to live a life in modern world where we're just so busy and distracted we just don't stop. And many answers are in nature, and that's why I'm so passionate about what you're doing here with Networking in Nature, to be able to practice that slowing down. And secondly, needing to prepare our body, mind and soul. I find with clients where they're just not healthy at the moment, they're not eating well, they're stressed, they're not living enough of their own life, or they've got issues that are blocking them, lots of fears, or dynamics perhaps in relationships and so on, that they really do need to prepare themselves, like you're going on a journey. So if you're preparing for a journey where you need to pack your luggage, your backpack, it's also about what you're not going to take. So in that preparatory stage, I find many people start to come back to me and say, oh Annie, it's just come to me what I need to do. I got it, or I had a serendipitous meeting with somebody, or I came across an article, or my boss has offered me an opportunity. So that's the preparing stage. Thirdly, it's knowing who you are, like deeply knowing who you are, your biggest life work, and to be able to express where your talents and your abilities are, your values, what sort of environments that you thrive in, and the experiences that have shaped you. Because it could well be in those experiences you're able to be a benefit to others with your perspective, or perhaps you've been through a very, very difficult time and you don't want others to have to go through what you've gone through. And so the time to be able to know what lights you up, what do you most love to do, and to be clear on that. And then step 4, you start to move towards naming what calls us, what is calling us. And perhaps in the modern world too, in the face of all that's happening with what we're seeing with climate change, with our political situation, with refugees and massive movements of people, in the face of all this, what am I called to do in my pocket of the world? And then with steps 5, 6 and 7 is all about the action planning and how we find ways to live it. And the fear and lack of confidence can be where people can struggle, particularly in our world where we've got so many benefits, that we actually end up being our own worst enemy. And so in my book I explore lots of strategies for dealing with that. And then how to, step 7, keep it going and growing. So you have this chance in your life, one hit at it, to continue to do that, and then perhaps in turn be of benefit to others and to be of service, and ultimately to achieve your own potential, which is where our happiness lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the 7 steps. Sounds simple. It's simplistically simple, but quite complex to put it into place with bravery and courage to live our best lives.
Yeah. And there's so many follow-ups that I could ask you, but
Yeah.
we're going to be here all day, and it was a bit like that with your session this morning. It just felt like once we started digging into what lights us up and what's potentially holding us back and what we see as our calling in life, it was as though everyone could have shared all day, but unfortunately we've got short attention spans online, and this video is probably already at that limit. So we're going to leave you with that thought from Annie Stewart, and thank you again, Annie, for joining us at Networking in Nature. We hope to welcome you back in the future. And and last thing we should mention is that Annie is just about to release her second book. This way?
That's the way around. Thank you. Career to Calling: How to Make the Switch. It's a very practical guide to be able to put what calls you into place and to make a difference and to achieve your happiness.
And this is coming out next month.
Yes, beginning of December.
We will link to Annie's profile in this description, so click through, say good day to Annie, and get in touch if you'd like a copy of her book or more info on the work she's doing. And wishing you all the best on pursuing your calling and lighting up the world in your own way.